I grew up on the South Side. I'm from the Wild Hunters, and being in Dumbo wasn't on my radar. I knew at some point I would live in New York. I didn't know I would be in New York in Dumbo. How I grew up in Chicago, I didn't know that, I didn't have things. I just knew that all of my essentials were there and life was good. But as far as taking it to new heights, it was me only wanting to do art for the rest of my life. I saw nothing else as far as family and also neighbors that would have some influence on me. Nobody really did further their education. I met my high school girlfriend, which is my wife now, and she was like, why you never apply to art college? Like, she was like, just apply and just see what happens. I applied, got accepted, and then boom, you want to be an artist, you might as well go to an art college and, see what happens. In college, I was the neighborhood barber. My mom was like, if you want to go to college, you got to pay for it. So, I started off making these crappy haircuts, but then over time, I just got better at it. My clientele had grown to the point where I was making a living off of cutting hair out of my mom's basement. But this was my room right here. There was graffiti walls, like layers and layers of graffiti walls in my basement. Same place that was my art studio, same place that turned into where I painted t-shirts. This is where it all started though. What me and my friend did, Dan, which is a high school friend of mine, we're still close now. And we both had this idea of like going to the flea market to set up a booth and sell our t-shirts. What ended up happening was we didn't sell any t-shirts. They placed us outside, it's a hot day. I'm showing people t-shirts that I hand painted. And I'm like, would you buy this shirt for $1? And it was like, I don't want this shirt, like look at this. We drove to the mall. One of our friends at the time worked at this store called The Lark. He saw us coming to the store, with sunburned and everything. And he's like, yo, what's up with y'all? He's like, why y'all look like this? So he was like, yo, man, we was just trying to sell t-shirts at the flea market. He was like, what? Like, why would you sell t-shirts at the flea market? He was like, if the t-shirt's any good, let me see. He was like, maybe we could try to get it in the store. I don't know. Just so happened, the buyer for The Lark, his name is Ray Escobar. Ray was in the back room that same day. And he looked and he was like, both of y'all did this right here? Like these t-shirts, like y'all painted these t-shirts? And he was like, so y'all got a catalog? Because he's like, we want to order some of these t-shirts. So we was like, yeah, I got a catalog. Didn't have a catalog, didn't even know how to make a catalog, right? All we did was went to Walgreens, got one of those binders. I did a graphic logo, and then I just put like names by each picture. And I did that at Kinko's. And every design we had in that actual catalog, they ordered. So the first order from The Lark, they ordered 500 t-shirts of those same t-shirts that we couldn't sell at the flea market for $1. And they bought those t-shirts from us for $34 each. Like my mom made clothes, but she didn't go into doing wholesale and also doing things, to make it a sustainable business. I did that. So the t-shirt for me has always been important. At that time, I had no knowledge on how to get my work inside of an art gallery. I didn't even know how to get my shirts inside of a clothing store. But once I did understand that, I then looked at each collector, each person that's buying my t-shirt as a collector. I looked at each store as now a gallery. So now I use the t-shirt as my canvas, and people are now walking around with my fine artworks on their body, where you're getting instant gratification when you walk out with something that I created. A lot of my work, I pull my inspiration from past experiences. So in this particular piece, is actually highlighting more women figures that also inspired me. Being a dad now, I now have to explain this to my daughter. That then made my work become that much more introspective. But again, having a daughter, now I understand what representation means. So now with the actual capsule collection, now I'm actually telling more stories that she's also connected to. Even when she saw this piece, she was like, Dad, you did that? You know what I mean? So like, she's still like in awe by it. Right now, the title of the piece is Knowledge of Self, because these are things that all help shape me into the person I am today. So, it's this real, tie-in of like how things kind of like evolve and take shape.